Okay, I'm going to be speaking about communication, and I want you to think about the fact that communication is not just about talking. Your child is communicating with you in a variety of ways, but the communication has to begin with interaction. There has to be an engagement between you and your child, and then once there is that engagement and that interaction between two partners, we set that social stage so that the child is able to communicate with you. And children communicate non-verbally, so non-verbal communicative acts come before verbal communication. So a non-verbal way a child might communicate is by looking at you, or maybe looking at you, looking at the toy they want and looking back at you, that shifting of eye gaze. That's communication. Doesn't have to have words, doesn't have to be anything more than that, but that is a communicative act, and an important one that is a precursor for your child to be able to communicate verbally and vocally. So your child does communicate in different ways. They communicate to ask for things. They communicate to tell you they don't want something. They communicate to share with you. These are the whys for why your child communicates. The hows are the things that your child does to indicate to you that they want to communicate. So I'm going to show you two charts on the hows and the whys. So the nonverbal communication can be something as simple as a look, a facial expression, either a smile or a grimace or anything along that way. You start to see a reach. Developmentally, a reach precedes that clear point, which is an important milestone for communication. Then gestures, you know, a bye-bye gesture, or maybe an all-done gesture, or maybe I saw a little guy that does this the other day. Any kind of gesture is important for communication. Another way that children communicate is through picture exchange. You may have heard of the PECS system, where they would pick up the picture of something that they want and they give it to you. So that's another nonverbal communication effort. They can lead you by the hand, so pull you to what they want. And even something as simple as throwing something could be a nonverbal communication. It could be, I don't want this right now. So there are many ways that children communicate. Now, we're going to talk about the vocal communication. So you can, a cry, a scream, or a giggle can be communication. Any kind of sound can be a communication. Anything like an could be communication for I want that. A single word, like bubbles, or a two-word combination, like more juice. A short phrase, like I want cookie. A sentence, a paragraph, and even echolalia is a very important part of communication. So if a child is, here's an example of echolalia, when a child repeats something that they've heard before, and they may repeat it in the context in which it's appropriate. So for example, if a little guy fell down and he says, "Are you okay?" So why is he saying, "Are you okay?" Because that's what mom says every time, "Are you okay?" So he repeats that little sentence because he knows in that context, when he falls down, this is what mom says. So echolalia is a very important part of learning communication. Now the basic whys, these are the first reasons that children communicate. The purpose that your child communicates could be to request something from you. So they reach towards something that they want as a request. The next kind of communicative function you might see is a protest, a refusal, or a rejection. The very early ways that children communicate that is by pushing something away. So if you give them something that they don't want, they'll push it away. That becomes refined as they learn to shake their head and say no, and they learn to say the word no, and then they learn to say I don't want that, or get that out of here, or please mommy, no more of that. So the basic function is all the same. They don't want something, but they communicate it in different ways. The comment is an important step for communication. Children, once they get the idea they can request and they can protest, the next reason they communicate is to comment on something. So if something's really big, they might comment. If it's loud, they might show you that it's loud. They might indicate the airplanes up in the sky. So a comment would be another reason for their communication. And then greetings are another communicative function. So to say hi and to say bye, for example. These are the first communicative functions. Many more emerge as your child becomes more social and as he or she develops more language. So some of the other functions are to direct the attention of others, to answer questions, to provide information, or to seek information.